We've worked on our ground game. These are experts. We know exactly what we're doing. Sometimes I've not been able to show it, and that's on me. But this time, believe me, I've been working, and hopefully I can show it this time around.
Ciryl Gane sends the clear warning message to Tom Aspinall. We know exactly what we're doing. Sometimes I've not been able to show it, and that's on me. But this time, believe me, I've been working, and hopefully I can show it this time around. That's Ciryl Gane on the criticism of his grappling. But Tom Aspinall's brutal response cuts deep. Nothing special, was it? Just loads of French people screaming.
I think if I hit anybody, I can knock anybody out. And I think that Ciryl is no exception, but obviously there are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved. You know what I mean? This is an MMA fight, it can go anywhere, so I'm sure we'll both be ready for anything.
UFC 321 explodes in Abu Dhabi on October 25th, and these two warriors are trading verbal bombs before they even step into the octagon. Let's dive deeper into Ciryl Gane's declaration. The 33-year-old French striker has carried the burden of criticism ever since his devastating losses exposed what many considered his biggest weakness, his ground game. But Gane's camp believes the narrative is fundamentally flawed. Speaking through a French translator at the Paris press conference, Bon Gamin opened up about the constant scrutiny. Sometimes life is a little bit strange because of some bad results, and then people think that you've never worked on your ground game, on your grappling. But believe me, as someone who's come from Thai boxing as well, I've got a team behind me. My coach Fernand Lopez, we've worked on our ground game. These are experts. We know exactly what we're doing.
You know, sometimes life is a little bit strange because some bad results and then people think that you've never worked on your ground game, on your grappling. But believe me, as someone who's come from Thai boxing as well, I've got a team behind me by my coach Fernand Lopez. We've worked on our ground game. These are experts. We know exactly what we're doing. Sometimes I've not been able to show it, and that's on me. But this time, believe me, I've been working, and hopefully I can show it this time around.
Fernand Lopez, the mastermind behind Gane's striking evolution, has quietly been working on addressing these grappling deficiencies. The MMA factory in Paris has brought in specialized coaches, and Gane's training partners have included world-class grapplers preparing him for exactly this moment. Since his loss to Jones in March 2023, Gane has fought twice, both victories. He dominated Sergey Spivak with a second-round TKO, showcasing improved takedown defense. Then came the controversial split decision victory over Alexander Volkov, where Gane's improved clinch work and defensive grappling were on display, even if the judges' scorecards sparked debate. As you know, my last fight was back in December. Then during the months of January and February, I was resting a little bit. I had a little bit of time away through an injury, recovering from that. But since March, I've really been training, giving it my all, Gane explained, emphasizing his commitment to this title shot.
Well, as you know, my last fight was back in December. Then during the months of January and February, I was resting a little bit. I had a bit of time away through an injury, recovering from that. But since March, I've really been training, giving it my all. I've not been playing PlayStation or going to the Champions League, watching other events like, you know, some of the others. I've been really training. So I'm concentrated. I think everyone's been able to see that. It's been probably one of the best camps in my career. And obviously, I'm ready.
But Tom Aspinall wasn't having any of the French fanfare. The 31-year-old Manchester native delivered his response with the cold precision that's made him one of the most feared champions in UFC history. Nothing special, was it? Just loads of French people screaming. Classic Aspinall. No fluff, no respect for theatrics, just brutal honesty. But behind that dismissive exterior lies a champion who's proven himself time and again when it matters most. Let's examine Aspinall's incredible resume. Since joining the UFC in July 2020, he's compiled an 8-1 record with 7 finishes. His only loss? A freak knee injury against Curtis Blades that required no opponent intervention. When he returned, Aspinall needed just 15 seconds to knock out Marcin Tybura, then submitted Blades via rear naked choke in their rematch. At the UFC 321 press conference, Aspinall's confidence was palpable. If I hit anybody, I can knock anybody out, and I think Ciryl is no exception. Obviously, there are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved. This is an MMA fight. It can go anywhere. I'm sure we'll both be ready for anything.
No, I think that if I hit anybody, I can knock anybody out. And I think that Ciryl is no exception, but obviously there are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved. You know what I mean? This is an MMA fight, it can go anywhere, so I'm sure we'll both be ready for anything.
But it's not just the power that makes Aspinall special. UFC legend Daniel Cormier recently labeled him the MMA Muhammad Ali for his incredible movement and boxing fundamentals. Like Ali, Aspinall possesses the rare combination of devastating power and graceful movement that seems impossible at heavyweight. This stylistic matchup presents one of the most intriguing puzzles in recent heavyweight title history, and the experts are divided on how it plays out. Aspinall, at 6 feet 5 inches with an 80-inch reach, brings a more explosive approach. His striking defense is phenomenal at 64%, but what sets him apart is his finishing instinct. While Gane often outpoints opponents, Aspinall hunts for the finish constantly, whether standing or on the ground. Former UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez broke down the matchup. Gane has the technical edge on the feet, but Tom has that one-shot power that changes everything. The question is whether Cyryl's improved grappling can withstand Tom's pressure if this fight hits the mat.
A couple of months ago, we had one of the most decorated heavyweight champions in MMA history, the great Cain Velasquez, on the program, and I asked him about the fight, and I thought his breakdown was interesting, and it kind of went viral. Can I play it for you and get your response to what he said?
Yeah, of course, no
Here's
problem.
the great Cain Velasquez speaking about a potential fight between Tom Aspinall and John Jones.
So me just watching him, I kind of see his pattern a little bit, and his striking, the way he comes in and strikes. I think John sees it too.
Okay.
So I think with that, just because again, he studies, man. He does his homework. You know, he's a master at this. He analyzes things. He studies you over and over again. I think just for that reason, he's gonna know what to do. So I don't think he beats John. No.
Your reaction to Cain's analysis?
I would never react negatively towards Cage. He's one of my favourite fighters ever. I mean, the fact that he knows that I exist and he's watched my fights is pretty cool to me. I mean, listen, he's an MMA expert himself. If he thinks that, that's fine. And you know what? I'm not really hung up on what people think. You know, this is MMA. This is the highest level of MMA in the heavyweight division. Obviously, the opinions are going to be split, and that's absolutely fine. Like, I respect his opinion.
His note about the patterns, what did you make of that?
Everyone's got a pattern. Everyone's got a pattern, but I think that talking about a guy whose average fight time is 2 minutes and 2 seconds in the UFC, the shortest average fight time ever. If you can pick up patterns from that, you're pretty good, man. You're pretty good. And I think that for him to be able to see that, that's impressive. But the people that think they've seen my game with an average fight time of 2 minutes and 2 seconds, they're going to have a surprise coming their way, man, because I've shown probably 10% of what I can actually do. And for people to go out there and think that they know what they're watching when they've seen me fight for 2 minutes, there's a lot more there to show.
The stats tell an interesting story. Gane's takedown defense has improved from 50% early in his UFC career to 73% in his last 5 fights. His average time spent on bottom has decreased significantly, and most importantly, his scrambling has become more aggressive rather than defensive. Gane acknowledged Aspinall's well-rounded skills. I think Tom has the answer already. He knows I'm a little bit of a different fighter in the division, but I fight in a different way. But I'm sure that Tom will be able to come up with an answer if he's thrown to it.
I think Tom has the answer already. He knows I'm a little bit of a different fighter in the division, but I fight in a different way. But I'm sure that Tom will be able to come up with an answer if he's thrown to it. We'll just have to see when the fight happens.
De finir très fort sur 5 rounds plutôt qu'au premier. Donc je pense que tout le monde connaît déjà la réponse.
The heavyweight title picture has been in flux for years, and UFC 321 could finally provide clarity or create even more chaos. For Tom Aspinall, this represents validation. Despite holding the interim title and clearing out top contenders, questions remained about his legitimacy as long as Jon Jones held the undisputed belt. With Jones now retired, Aspinall's opportunity to cement himself as the undisputed heavyweight king has arrived. Former UFC commentator Joe Rogan put it perfectly. This isn't just about who's the better fighter right now. This is about who represents the future of heavyweight MMA. Both these guys are in their prime, both have evolved tremendously, and both believe they're destined for greatness.
Which is Tom Aspinall, fights Pavlich, and takes that fight on 2 weeks' notice, and becomes the interim champion, and fucks his back up, and can't train at all. But Aspinall, like that guy's, he's something special. He really is something special. He's a very unusual example. Because he's a heavyweight, and he's a big guy, a really big guy, but he moves so fast. And his coach, Colin, I forget, it's from Cabal, this gym that he trains at in the UK, Colin Heron. He trained Darren Till. Colin, from the early days of the career, was like emphasizing his speed. And so his speed has always been like extraordinary compared to other heavyweights. Like he just fucking moves in. It's all like fast, explosive movements. So he's got natural speed, but then he's also got a lot of training to execute quickly. So when he moves in, he closes the gap. You can see like, fuck, he's fast for a big guy.
Right.
Dana White's excitement is palpable. This is what heavyweight title fights should look like. Two guys in their absolute prime, both coming off impressive wins, both believing they're the best in the world. October 25th can't come fast enough.
I interviewed Tom Aspinall. He wants to fight Jon Jones. He thinks he'll beat Jon Jones.
Yes, he does. I love that. And a young, aggressive, talented heavyweight. He actually wants to fight all the best. The problem in this business is you have guys that say a lot of things publicly, but behind the curtains don't mean it. Tom Aspinall is not that guy. Tom Aspinall wants to fight all the best in the world.
Until next time, this has been MMA Central, where legends are made and champions are crowned.
Yeah, I think we have everything we need. We have a very high quality, and now we've been shown that France is ready for his first UFC champion, and I think it could begin.
I mean, there was nobody else to fight. I'll just like, Ciryl, you just do your thing, man. You just do your thing, I'll just chill.
Tom Aspinall just sent shockwaves through the heavyweight division with a brutal warning that has Ciryl Gane fans absolutely fuming. Quote, "If I hit anybody, I can knock them out, and Ciryl is no exception. There are weaknesses in his ground game."
No, I think that if I hit anybody, I can knock anybody out. And I think that Ciryl is no exception, but obviously...
Let me paint you the picture of what went down at the Accor Arena in Paris, because this was unlike anything we've seen at a UFC press conference recently. The moment, and I mean the exact moment, Tom Aspinall picked up that microphone, the entire French crowd erupted in deafening boos. We're not talking about your typical crowd reaction here. This was so intense that even French journalists were getting booed just for directing questions to the English champion. Here's what actually happened. Aspinall started to explain his title situation, saying, there was nobody else to fight, and he literally couldn't finish his sentence. The boos were so overwhelming that he just gave up mid-sentence and said, "Ciryl, you just do your thing, I'll just chill."
There was nobody else to fight. I'll just like, Ciryl, you just do your thing, man. You just do your thing, I'll just chill.
The atmosphere was so toxic that it reminded fans of when Dricus du Plessis got absolutely destroyed by crowds before. The difference? Aspinall didn't let it rattle him. This tells us something crucial about the pressure Gane is under. The entire nation of France is behind him, expecting him to become their first UFC champion. That's either rocket fuel or crushing pressure. We'll find out on October 25th. Now let's break down exactly what made Aspinall's warning so devastating, because this wasn't random trash talk. This was surgical precision. This isn't boasting, it's a statistical fact. Aspinall has finished 12 of his 15 wins, with most coming in the first round. His knockout power at heavyweight is genuinely terrifying. But then came the real dagger. There are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved.
And I think that Ciryl is no exception, but obviously there are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved.
Remember, Gane was completely dominated on the ground by Jon Jones, getting submitted in the first round at UFC 285. That's the elephant in the room that Aspinall just called out in front of Gane's home crowd. What's brilliant about Aspinall's approach is the backhanded compliment, but I'm sure he's improved. It sounds respectful, but it's actually saying you had to improve because you were so bad before. And here's the kicker. Aspinall said all this while being booed out of the building, maintaining ice-cold composure. That's championship-level mental strength right there. Tom Aspinall's path to undisputed champion has been a roller coaster. He was the interim champion, desperately wanting to fight Jon Jones to unify the titles. But Jones kept avoiding him, eventually retiring in June rather than face the English striker. Aspinall literally said in interviews, "I'm not in the realm of dodging fights at all. I'm ready to fight absolutely anybody." A clear shot at Jones.
And of course, it's been pretty interesting, all the stuff that Jon Jones has been saying to the media this week, and I'm sure there's more to come, but check out these.
You're beating guys who aren't even champions, and you consider yourself a champion. He's not a champion.
So Jon said I need to fight more champions, but this is the problem I've got. Jon is the champion, and he won't fight me. And he says that he won't fight me because it's too much of a gamble.
Now he's facing Gane, who's had his own championship heartbreak. This is Gane's third shot at UFC gold after losses to Francis Ngannou at UFC 270 and Jon Jones at UFC 285. At 35 years old, this might genuinely be his last realistic chance. The stakes couldn't be higher. Aspinall is defending his undisputed title for the first time. Gane is trying to become France's first UFC champion. The pressure is immense on both sides, but Aspinall's warning suggests he's embracing that pressure while trying to put doubt in Gane's mind. French lightweight contender Benoit Saint-Denis immediately fired back on social media, declaring, "France is ready for its first UFC champion, and I think it will be Gane." The French MMA community has rallied around their heavyweight hope. What's telling is that even Aspinall's critics admit his warning was based on facts, not fantasy. That ground game vulnerability is real, and everyone knows it. Both men are 6 feet 5 inches heavyweights who move like middleweights, but their games are completely different. Aspinall said it perfectly. It's rare to see two heavyweights our size move like we do. This is the new age of heavyweights. Aspinall's advantages: devastating knockout power, superior grappling, and submission skills. His ground game is legitimately world-class for a heavyweight. When he threatens Gane's ground game, he's speaking from a position of strength. Gane's advantages: elite kickboxing, better cardio, and superior distance management. His striking is absolutely beautiful. Technical, precise, and powerful. He also has that French crowd energy behind him. Gane responded with his own confidence. "Tom's the defending champion. He is the man to beat. He's never fought someone like me. I bring something different." But notice he didn't address the ground game comment directly. That's telling. Here's my honest assessment after analyzing this entire situation. Aspinall's warning isn't just psychological warfare, it's tactical preparation. He's clearly identified Gane's biggest weakness and isn't shy about exploiting it. The mental warfare aspect shows he's thinking like a champion, not just a fighter. However, Gane is desperate. This is likely his last title shot, and desperate fighters are dangerous. If he can survive the early storm and make it a technical striking battle, he has the tools to win. What's your take? Was Aspinall's warning justified or disrespectful? Can Gane overcome his ground game weakness? Drop your predictions in the comments. I read every single one. Smash that like button if this breakdown helped you understand the deeper story. Subscribe for more detailed MMA analysis and ring that bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the fight game, sometimes the most dangerous warnings are the ones based on truth.